But David is going to help us and put everything in perspective. David, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Clive and the gang.
Yes, how is it? I know you've been filling me in with a lot of information in regards to Kenyan government and the FA. What is the latest at the moment when you look at what CAF did communicate on Monday?
Well, the news did not surprise anybody in Kenya. It was widely expected that Kenya will not compete in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. As you rightly put it, Kenya had been pulled alongside the Cameroon, Burundi, and Namibia. But then again, there has been a stalemate stretching back around 6 or 7 months to last November when the Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Amina Mohamed, I think in Uganda you refer to her as the Minister of Sports, she did disband Football Kenya Federation and closed the Federation Secretariat in Nairobi after receiving a report commissioned by the government that accused the Federation of, among other things, corruption and misappropriation of funds and not quite proper, how do I put it? The Federation was also accused of having not gone through the required way to register itself as an entity in the government of Kenya. So the disbandment was not approved by FIFA, leading to an indefinite suspension. And so when the draw for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations was done, the Confederation of African Football, of course, who are the tournament organizers, initially included Kenya alongside Zimbabwe, with optimism that this problem will be solved, but it was not solved 2 weeks to the start of the competition. And so CAF were left without choice other than to remove Kenya, sadly, from the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers.
Yes, David, I remember Uganda was probably in a similar scenario in 2004-2005, where government did interfere with the FA at the time, the transition that brought in Lawrence Mlindwa and company, and we never actually got to the level of being banned by FIFA or CAF. Why is it that this time around Kenyan football is trying to apply, rather the Kenyan government is trying to apply the Kenyan laws on people who are probably using taxpayers' money and all that? Then FIFA and CAF are actually insisting that what the Kenyan government is doing is wrong. Where's the problem?
Well, that's a good question, Clive. Just to make it a little bit clear is that the problem as it is right now is that FIFA has stuck to its guns and the Kenyan government, through the Sports Cabinet Secretary, Amina Mohamed, stuck to her guns. FIFA's main problem is not that Kenyan football officials have been accused of corruption. FIFA say they have no problem with that, and that is why the indefinite suspension came with a rider. That we don't have a problem with any investigations to that effect. I think FIFA's problem was that the whole of Football Kenya Federation Secretariat in Nairobi, consisting about 100 people, were affected by a decision or punishment towards one person. Remember, it's the Football Kenya Federation President, Nick Mwendo, who was accused of corruption and misappropriation of funds. And there's an ongoing active case at a court in Nairobi on that. But as a result of one person being accused of misappropriation of funds, now the whole secretariat, consisting the CEO, other employees, the National Executive Council members, branch officials, have now been sent home to pay for that sin. So that is what really FIFA had an issue with. So FIFA have been consistent in telling the government of Kenya, you need to reopen the secretariat so that normal football activities can resume before we can even discuss about Kenya having to come back. But the government has stuck to its guns, said, no, we are not going to do that. We have proved that these people are corrupt. In due course, through the courts, we'll prove that the football officials in Kenya were corrupt. So the standoff goes. There is little sign of a truce in between, because ideally there should have been a middle ground by now between FIFA and the government of Kenya, but there's no middle ground as it is right now. And this is the interesting part, Clive. There is a general election in Kenya in August, the 9th of August to be precise, and it is seemingly becoming clear that there will not be a solution before then. So if there's any solution between FIFA and a government of Kenya to bring back Kenyan football into the fold, it's likely to happen after September, when probably there's a new government in place, because as it is
Well, looks like we
right now, I think.
Please continue. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was just explaining about the election. It is a political season in Kenya, of course. There's going to be a general election on August 9th. And that being the case, the current sports cabinet secretary might not be the cabinet secretary for long, because a new government, of course, there might be changes in the cabinet. So it is looking likely she might not be able to get a solution before her term of office expires in just under 2 months' time. What that means is that this problem might extend until September or October, and the new government that will be in place, because remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta's term on office expires on August 9th constitutionally. So it is looking likely that a new solution, or a solution towards the future of Kenyan football, might just be brought into place by the next government, and we're talking about September, October, or even November 2022.
I'd like to know, because you're on the ground at the moment, have there been any interactions between the sports cabinet, especially the minister, and CAF or FIFA after in the days after the ruling was announced?
Initially, there was a lot of correspondence flying around on social media from FIFA with orders on what to do. But those were not adhered to. And then there was also another letter by the cabinet secretary addressed to FIFA. But then after the ban, there's been a lot of lull. The cabinet secretary insists she has been involved in behind the scenes talks with FIFA, but there has been no proof of that. She's also insisted that she wants to clean up the game first before inviting FIFA for a truce. So FIFA have also been mum about that since the indefinite suspension was announced by FIFA President Gianni Infantino in February. So there just has been talks, no proof of that. And the worst part of it as well is that Kenya right now has no football team. The last time the national football team actively participated in a football match was last November. At the tail end of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. There is no coach. Remember, Engin Ferrat, the game against Uganda at Chitende was the last game Kenya played. And Engin Ferrat, the TAC coach, left soon after. So even if CAF was to think about allowing Kenya back to the fold, it's really going to be tough for Kenya to come up with a team right now, a coach, assemble players to play against Cameroon, because that was what had been planned before the ban came into force. Also remember, the national women team were banned from participating in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, a decision that favored Uganda and gave Uganda automatic qualification to the Women Cup of Nations. So this whole confusion around Kenyan football at the local scenes, and then as well, I was just about to, I forgot, but I remembered. You know that the government of Kenya has put in a caretaker committee and lately a transition committee to manage football affairs in the interim. FIFA has outlawed that move. So all these confusions, Clive, from wherever you sit, it is hard to see them being solved in a day or a week or a month. And the Kenyan football fans have resigned themselves to just let it know that the next government that will be formed after the August 9th general election, when President Uhuru Kenyatta goes home, will be the government that will solve this impasse.
Well, David, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for putting everything in perspective. We hope that moving forward, in case of any developments, you'll be able to join us to try and put things in perspective.
Thank you too, Clive. Just a footnote there that the FIFA World Cup trophy lands in Nairobi tomorrow. It will make its way to State House. Giuliano Belletti, the Brazilian defender, is the FIFA World Cup trophy.
Why is the World Cup? What is the World Cup trophy doing in Kenya? If the same people bringing the trophy are the same people banned in Kenya.
Yes, and that's you just picked my mind. I think at this event at State House, if it's just not a PR scheme, of course, some corporates involved in this. If it's not just a PR scheme, maybe, just maybe, it could bring President.
Well, I get your point. Actually, David says that probably the development might help to create a bit of awareness for the President Uhuru Kenyatta of the turmoil in Kenyan football, and maybe a few things will be put in order.
Yeah, maybe it would be good for them, but with FIFA adamant on whatever they are stressing at the moment, you understand that it's not going to be easy, even if the president intervenes into the matter. But all in all, I think Kenya only have to pray at the moment, because what David is saying is literally, their clubs may also not be in the CAF Confederation.
No, they won't.
Because this turmoil, he anticipates is going to go on until August
after
or
elections.
September. That is sad for them. But if this happens, and then you put your house in order, and we may ensure that it doesn't happen again in the near future, then it's good for you probably.